Done and get it over, get you home. So, I normally have a little clock I run by here, but that's not working and my watch has gone flat, so we're just going to have to roll with it. See how we go. So, I know a few of you fellas don't know the bulk of you. Alright, my name's Grant Bignell. Jumped that elephant out of the room now. I'm actually Jed's father. He's here, so I try really hard not to talk about this stuff at home too much, right? But what are the odds? What are the fucking odds?
Tricky.
So what we're going to talk about tonight, I don't like using the term mental health. I'm not a clinician, I'm not a therapist, I'm not any of those things. It's based on a lot of stuff I used to do. I worked for the QRL for quite a while in their wellbeing education team when I first moved up to Mackay. So I was lucky enough to get into the state manager's role for that wellbeing education team, and we got to spend a lot of time with a lot of really well-educated people, a lot of really well-meaning people, and those that were in the game for the right reason. But every time we'd get together, every time all those people would come in, all they'd tell me is all the stats around particularly the, we'll call it emotional well-being of young men, was getting worse and worse and worse. And we were spending millions and millions of dollars on it, and it's getting worse and worse. So either they're taking the mick and just cashing in, or they're going about the wrong way. I don't know. I'll say now, this is not an answer to anything. This is a conversation I've been lucky enough to have with a lot of people. I hope you get some benefit out of it. I hope it raises a few questions for you. I hope it is things you can bring up again amongst yourselves. So you just had a little chat. Is that right? You all, yeah? How'd that go, right? Anyone cry? No? We're all good? We're all mates still? Yeah? Cool. Because it's one of those funny little things. I write shit on board when I'm doing this just to prompt me when I'm going, but how you react or respond to things, right? Feedback and criticism, it's really cool watching people how they, can react or respond to that. If we're going to react, we're going to react out of an emotional place. That's where we go with our reactions. There's a reason we call our fireys and ambulance, we call them first responders, not first reactors, because they have to turn up to a situation and they respond. They don't jump out, run around like lunatics. They stop, they have a quick look around, assess what's going on, come up with a plan. What are we going to do next? And that's how they go about it. That's a response, right? If you jump up off the ground, tell a referee he's full of shit, swear at someone, carry on, that's a reaction every single time. And as much as we have physical habits in our lives, little tics, things we do that are just habitual, we don't know, we don't think about it, we have emotional habits. How you react in certain situations becomes a habit. And we get really good at what we practice. Alright? So if you are practicing having reactions in footy, reactions with your mates, reactions no matter where, they will just flow into the rest of your life because you've practiced them enough to be really good at having unfortunate reactions. Leads to a lot of issues in relationships because that becomes our default setting. Right? You don't have to go too far to dig into those statistics and what's going on in society with that right now. But it also leads to a lot of men between the ages of 15 and 45 reacting in a really bad way that we can't come back from. All right? So that's why we need to get better at understanding who we are, how we react, when we react, what we do with it. All right? So rugby league, I've always loved rugby league my whole life. I've been involved with it in one way or another my whole life. Never played at any great level. No one has ever heard of me playing unless you got stuck in the bush somewhere and couldn't get out for a weekend and had to go to footy. But the beautiful thing about rugby league and all these very educated people and all that spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on their education would sit in a room and say, emotionally stable people have 3 really important things in their life. They have a physical outlet where they're physically active that leads to an end. They have a group of like-minded people that they can turn to when they need to. And they're involved in individual and group goals. That pretty much explains their game. Shit, we even put you in the same shirt, so you dress the same. So you are, to be able to play this game, especially at this level that you're playing now, you are so fortunate, and I hope you genuinely take the time to understand how fortunate you are and be grateful for it. All the time. Even at the end of a pretty average outcome, what was on the weekend, you know, we can be emotional about that and how we react to that and what it looks like, but at the end of the day, 5 minutes after we're removed from the full-time siren and things settle down, everything changes. That's how quick our emotions change, just like that. Again, the experts, not me, they say there's 2.5 minutes in an emotional reaction. If it's going for any longer than 2.5 minutes, you're feeding it. All right, like a shitty dog, you're just wasting food on it. Okay, so I just want to cover a couple of quick things before we get too far into this stuff, but I come across this late last year, and this is not my stuff. I borrowed, I'll say, pretty much everything we'll talk about tonight from someone else. But in clubs, and this is in competitions, in leagues, in life, in workplaces, in families, in everything, there's 3 levels of people. You got those that are hungry and are never satisfied, always looking for the next thing. What's my next thing? How do I get better? How do I improve? How do I make this better for everyone around me? Then you got people that are just happy to eat. They work really hard till we get there, then they get a little bit of love and it drops off. And then we've got other people that are they're just happy to get invited to the table. Right? And you see, again, in a previous existence, I was fortunate enough to spend some time around some NRL setups and watching, especially amongst the young people, and you could see it. You could see it in those that were just happy to get the shit. Like, that was me. Give me a shirt and a pair of shorts and I'm happy. Cool. I don't need anything else. I'll just take the merch and go. Right? But then there's people that have worked really hard to get there, but they get there and they work really hard for a while, then the really hard stops, and then they're just there. They're not really going anywhere with it. But then you got those hungry bastards that never ever stop. Every year they get better. They can do it forever. There's no end in them. There is no end. It's constant. And it's in footy, it's in life, it's in relationships, it's in everything you do. And the best part about it all is you get to choose what you want to be. No one can make that choice for you. So you get to choose who you want to be out of the hungry, all right, the contented and the excited, just to be around you. And that's, once we get into it, you'll understand that if you don't have an emotional connection and an emotional reason to stay hungry and keep driving, it won't last. It never does. Because 2.5 minutes, we've got to keep reminding ourselves, this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm doing it. And it doesn't matter. You set a goal this year. Like, I know a few of you has had, you know, some of us had an extensive career at professional level. A few of us had a little taste, a little bit of a little lollipop here and there, in and around that. All right, and that's cool and awesome. But what would you need to do to be there all the time? Are you willing to make that investment in you every damn day to get what you say you want? Because your actions will always speak louder than your words. You can tell me you want to play professional footy, and you can say that over and over and over, all right? But if you're not doing the extras, if you're not doing everything you need to do, whatever it is, why you're not there, I don't know. But you know why you're not there. If you sit down and spend 5 minutes looking in a mirror, the mirror will tell you why you're not there. What you need to improve on, what you need to be better at. Maybe it's the way you react to things. Maybe it's the how can I respond better to things. I don't know. But you need to spend some time on it and work it out. And then you need to decide how long you're willing to suffer for. Because everyone sets a goal and says, right, I'm off the piss, got off the drink for 6 weeks. Ah. Really? 6 weeks? You're prepared to do it for 6 years? You're prepared to eat properly for that same amount of time? Do all your extras, do all your recovery, do all that stuff? Because if you're not, then you're taking the piss. If you're fortunate enough that in that little window when you actually do the thing, something opens up for you, cool, well done, how good, awesome. But for some of us, no, we're going to go back, we're going to start again, we're going to go back and start again, we're going to go back and start again. And we may never ever get there. But at the end of it, you've become someone that will go back and start again. Because that's where we get caught emotionally. Alright? We get caught in that spot where we're in it and we don't want to face up to it again. We just say, I can't do this one more day. But this game tells you you can. The pre-season training tells you you can. Because you have. If you just let it resonate with you. Alright? So, no matter how much you've been dominated, or how dominant you are in a game, the bulk of the game, and you pull up the stats on any game you like, I don't care. The bulk of the game is played between the 20s. That's where the most tackles are made. That's where most of the work's done. That's where most of the good stuff's done. That's life. That's where we are. Now you're going to spend time emotionally in a red zone, and you're going to struggle a bit, and you're going to feel like this is shit, and you're also going to spend time up in good ball, in the green zone, where how good, this is as good as it gets. Maybe it is signing that. Maybe it is a family thing. Maybe it is, I don't know, buying a new car. Whatever does it for you. Something's going to come, but it doesn't last forever. Eventually life and the game is going to bring you back to the halfway line. And we're going to say start again, or we're going to say shake hands and that'll do us. One way or the other. But that's what life does to us. It gives us a bit of this, we can get it up there. All right. The trick is working out what put us in the red zone, what did we contribute, why am I there, and then what gets me up into the green zone. What does that look like? Right. So one of the coolest things, and for those that have got kids, you'll understand more, but the most joyous thing in a little kid's life is learning something new. When they work something out. If you've got little kids around you. That's as good, that's pure joy for those kids. When they get really good feedback on something they do, even if it's garbage, you give them really good feedback, that's pure joy, because they've put effort into something and they're getting reward for it. Right? At some point in life, and I don't know when it is, we lose that. Life kicks that out of us somehow. And we lose the joy for the little things that provide us. I don't know when it is that we stop having the response and having the dreams we had when we were little kids. Maybe it's parents, maybe we're responsible for that. You know, maybe it's school. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I wish I knew. But if we get really good at finding joy in simple things, the really pure things, we get to spend more time up in good ball, emotionally. But life, like footy, some days you're going to play teams that are just too good for you, for whatever reason. No matter how good you go, no matter how hard you play, no matter what you put into that, they're just too good. And they're going to drive you back down your end. Life does that to you. There's going to be situations, Jesus, every one of you would have had that moment in your life so far where it just sucks. It's shit. How do I get through this? How do I get past this? How do I get over this? This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. For some of the things are going to sound horrific. For some of us, maybe they're not that bad when we say it out loud to other people, but for the person at the time, it's my red zone moment. So in a game, we know we're going to get put there at times. How do we respond when we get there? If you had to get one team in the NRL comp, if you had to pick one team to defend their line for your life, who would you pick? Storm. Yeah. They get mentioned a lot. Why would you pick the Storm? Why are the Storm good at it? Huh? Between the two. Well, why are they good in their red zone? Why can they hold up there?
Because they work for each other.
I think everyone, you work for each other, don't you?
They spend time there and train.
Spend time there in training, yeah. Absolutely. Hey?
Good attitude.
Good attitude. Yeah. Again, you can choose that. You can all choose a good attitude right now. Before we walk out. That's fixed, righto, done. Tick that off. I've got that for you, Cuthbert. Attitude's fixed. So they spend time there. They know how much work goes into it. And they do the work. Right? And they're not looking for a pat on the back and a reward every time they do the work. It's the work. Right, that's where we get to. We have a really good training session. We do, and someone pat me on the back. Mark, all this stuff that goes on there. Yeah, hey. We went 5 minutes without dropping a footy. Fucking Right? The work is the reward. Because the work leads to winning, and winning is more fun than fun is fun. Right? If you don't believe me, have a look at the replay after the full-time siren on the weekend. Winning is more fun than fun is fun. The only way we get that is to do the work, not needing a pat on the back, because that is the bare minimum. That's the entry level for what we've signed up for. Is I am going to work hard as shit all the time, and I don't care what my reward is. Imagine if we could all approach life like that. That'd be fun. Imagine what we could get done if that's how we went about it. Because when we work hard for you, it's not about you believing in me and you believing in him and you believing in him. That's not it. That's not the trick. The trick is you believe in you more than anything else. And when your foot hits the try line and you look there and you look there, it's cool that you trust them and you believe in them, but the coolest thing is to believe in this one. I don't care what it is, but I ain't letting it's not me. I don't think it's him and I don't think it's him, but I sure as hell know it's not me. Because I'm prepared to do one more rep. And we all want to know how many we're doing. Get on the line, we're going to do shuttles. How many? It doesn't matter. Just do them until someone says stop. You've got to be prepared just to do one more. And then one more again. All right? And if we can do that in this environment, why can't we do it in our relationships? Why can't we do it in our work? Why can't we do it in our emotional regulation? When you check in with you. So if I was to ask you a scale of 1 to 10, where you sit right now emotionally, probably most of you wouldn't be able to write down an answer. Because chances are, I'm very confident, that right now would be the first time you've thought of that today. Potentially it's the first time you've thought of it ever. I don't know. Ever. But if we stop, check in where I'm at, understand, the French, a lot of things they're not like the French for, alright? We'll edit that bit out. But the French have a little thing called la pause in parenting and in decision making. When they stop, let it sit for a minute. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Imagine if we could regulate our own reactions in that moment. If we got so good at understanding where we were emotionally, we could just go, whoop, stop, I see you, I feel you. But as men especially, and men in your positions that have got people looking up to you, you know, there's people in this group that look up to you. As much as, you know, some of us probably won't admit it out loud, but that's how all the clubs work. Like there's levels like that. There's a layer in this club. I don't get to decide who they are. You all know who they are. Then there's the big group in the middle, then there's the people at the bottom. And so there's always people looking up, and there's always people to help up, to reach down and help up. Okay? So if we understand as men that I can stop and don't have to act on my urges, I don't have to react because I'm cranky, I don't have to react because I don't feel well. There's no rule that says you have to feel well to act well. But the better we act, the better we'll feel. All the time. Right? I've worked with Hastings Dairy and we had a big bunch of people working that shed. The amount of people that won't turn up, I don't feel well. Who gives a shit? I don't care. Life don't care whether you feel well. Pull them pants up. Let's go. Let's get to work. Right? If you're working for yourself, there's no I don't feel well. I'm not going in today. That's not it. Life don't give a shit how you feel. It's what your emotions are. Right? That's up to you. And probably the most arrogant thing we can do in life is expecting other people's day to be affected by how I feel. I'm going to poison this whole damn place because I feel like rubbish today. And I'm going to be rude and I'm going to be inconsiderate. I'm going to be nasty. I'm not going to help anyone because I don't feel like it. But then when I turn up tomorrow and I feel good, why are they not talking to me? What's going on here? I didn't feel well yesterday. Everyone should cut me some slack. But now I feel good. What's going on? Life don't care. Moves on. But we need to get better at that. We need to get better at understanding where we are. Where we are in 6 o'clock in the morning. Where we are at lunchtime. What emotionally does our food do for us? What emotionally does it do to us when we go and get on the drink? And I will preface this, I'm probably going to mention drinking a little bit here and there. I come from no moral high ground when it comes to drinking, all right? I've had my share, I enjoy it, I do it all well. But we all know that it is literal poison. Literally, that's what it is. Again, I have it, and I will have it again, all right, at times. But as a species that's supposed to be the absolute atypical predator on the planet, we're the only one that poisons ourselves willingly, and we pay for the pleasure. We go to work to earn it, then we throw it down on something we know, and if you don't think it's poison, you're kidding yourself. All right? That aside, how much effect does your emotional state have on how much you drink? And then how much you drink, what does that have on your emotional state? It's worth thinking about. It's worth taking the time to spend some moments, you don't just dwell in it for hours, but just to sit. Where am I emotionally when I eat well? When I get upset, when I'm not on the drink, when I'm doing all the things? Where am I emotionally? I don't care about the footy at the end of the day. It has no impact on my life. But where am I emotionally when I'm not doing those things? Then where am I? Because potentially that has an impact. Really bad outcomes have a very wide-reaching impact. And in my role previously, I got to go and sit in communities after that had happened. My role was to go into a community after they had a critical incident and sit with them. That is some tough shit to deal with, I tell you. And the first time you have that conversation with someone, man, it takes some forgetting. It really does. So the red zone in rugby league. We put a line on the ground. So that's where it is, in there. That's where you're going to do it the toughest. What puts you there day to day? If it's all good to be there to be able to handle it on a Sunday, what about on a random Tuesday morning or a Wednesday afternoon? in the off season when you haven't got all your buds hanging around? What puts you in the red zone? And what's your plan to get out of there as quick as you can? Because you need a plan. Who do you turn to here when you start? Who do you turn to? Who says what when we're down there? When we've got our backs up against it and we're really doing it tough? Who's the person that puts their hand up? I hope it's louder than this. Who is it?
Are you talking about footy?
Yeah, it's in footy. Yeah. Who is it? Who's the one? Who does the chat? Who picks it up? Who?
Mitch Fogarty.
Yeah. Hey? That's 2. 3. It has to be you. It has to be you. He's not playing. He could have said all he wanted on the weekend. He's not helping you. No offence, brother. Mitch is on and off. Not there all the time. We have to find a way to be our own cheerleader when times get tough. Alright? If you need a cheer, I'll give you my phone number. If you need someone to be your cheerleader occasionally, ring me. I'll give you a cheer. I'll remind you how good you got it. How hard you've worked. I'll remind you of all those things. I'll tell you. Happy to. But you've got to be able to do it for yourself. Because there's going to be days where you are stuck in the red zone, alright? And you're not going to know how I got there. You're not going to know why I'm here, and you're not going to know how the hell to get out. On a field, we can turn to certain people. Right? But when we're not on the field, who do we turn to? Who are our people? Right? So, again, you should be able to write down who your people are, who you're ringing. Can't be a person. They got their own life to lead. They got stuff going on. Can't be 2 people, because chances are there's 2 people who've got other stuff going on. You probably need 5 people that you can genuinely ring and say, I'm in a bind. And if you're sitting here and those people are in this group, some of them, cool, awesome, that's outstanding. Right? And if you're sitting in the only people you're thinking of are in your circle and at your age, you need to find better people. Right? And that's not having a shot at the people around you and your people your age, but you need people who've been through some stuff, got over some stuff, achieved some stuff. You know, if you want to know something about getting healthier, you don't go and ask someone at the bar. If you want to know something about, getting smarter, you don't go and ask someone that's never read a book. If you want to know something about being wealthier, don't go and ask the broke person. Right? You can't build a big life surrounded by small people. Can't. Expand your circle. Understand potentially you've got more contacts and more people in your corner than you believe. Right? Spend some time thinking about how am I going to get out and what are we going to do? Right? How does that work for me? Because in a game of footy that we all sign up to play and we take very seriously, and you should, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but we take this potentially more serious than we take everything else out there. I'm not saying that's the case. I don't know what the hell you do, don't know how you live your lives, anything of that. But I've known enough people that are super committed to their footy, but wouldn't know how many dollars they got in the bank. Constantly going through shitty relationships, all of those things. Because this is my focus. This is my plan A. Alright? Imagine if plan A was just being the best damn person I can be. Physically, the best I can be emotionally. If rugby league then becomes a part of that, outstanding. Right? And all these people will tell you, they'll tell you, you've got to, sacrifice it, all that stuff. Yeah, cool. Cool. Then what? Then what? Right. So, the game, when you fail, picks you up, Let you stand there. Let someone run out on the field with a message from someone. All right? And they tell you what you did. And they explain to you what you should do better. And they give you a chance to all rev each other up. And, you know, if you've played enough footy in the bush, someone there will say, we all got to get to training Thursday night and get fitter. But the game stops. Let you recover. Have a think about what you did. Then we give you a chance to walk back up to the middle of the field, nice and calmly, together. Try again. Let's see if you can do better this time. Let's see if you've worked out what you're not doing well. But at the same time, if you succeed, score a try. Same result. You don't get to hang out there. You don't get to spend the rest of the day there. Cool. You've ticked the box. That's what we're out there to do. Right? You haven't won the lotto. You scored a try. You walk back, and then this team kick the ball here and say, righto then, Smarty, let's see if you can do that again. We're going to try and stop you. Right? That is the swing of life. All right? Start, see if we can do it better, see if we've learnt from our mistakes. See if I can get myself out of the red zone on my own over and over. What's your green zone moment today? Has anyone had one? Something that you'll look back on when you lay down tonight and go, that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. That was good. That made me happy.
Finishing frames of work.
Finishing what?
Finishing frame of work.
Frame of work.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing about that is you'll get to do that again, over and over and over. But what is it? You know, I'm pretty lucky that I've got to live a lot of years. I've got to reflect a little bit on this stuff. Once I started talking about it, I thought I'd better start to invest a little bit of time in it myself. Right? But I'm really good at small things, making me happy. If someone at work, I get this idiot at work, he says funny things, I laugh. We've got a similar sense of humour. Yeah, no matter how tough things are at work, if we find each other on the floor, we end up laughing and walk away. Okay, cool. Just for a moment. I just dip my toe in the green zone. Alright? Then we're back to the grind again. Go back. Start again. But I know that now. I know when I need to go find him. I'll go search him out. Right? Going back to when we were little kids, you know, the joy of learning. The joy of just being able to stand and look at the wide open spaces. I'll show the conspiracy side of me, but look at the sky with no chemtrails in it. Oh, good. All right. Those are the things that we need to acknowledge. We need to remember. Pay attention to them, because you might need them somewhere. Put them in your pocket. That was good. I'll hold on to that. When I'm having a shitty time, I'll pull that one out. That was cool. I remember that. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing in the world. Finish the frame. Whatever it could be. It's up to you. It's not my thing. It's your thing. Right? But if we're constantly waiting for the big thing to be really happy, you're going to get there and you're not going to feel it. Because there'll be the next thing, and another, and another, and another. If you're the hungry type. Because if you get there, and that's the ultimate, I've done, I've won, how good, you're just happy to eat. Because you've had your feed, now we're done. Alright? So, spend time thinking what it is in the green zone. The funny thing about the green zone in the footy, this is one of those crazy stats. I love watching footy. Some teams go roaring down the field, a million mile an hour, get down within 10 or 15 metres of the try line, and they just turn to poo. Can't do it. Can't score a try for love nor money. Half the other side could fall over and they manage to bumble that shit. Don't know why, it's just how they go. All their best work's back down the field. Right? You're halfway up, you get the pressure of the red zones away from you, but the lure of the try line's not quite there yet. We can still do the things we're going to do. We haven't got people going, oh, will I, should I, oh, maybe, because the goal, the ultimate goal's not quite there yet. We're in the zone, right? But we forget everything that's got us here and go away from it. And then you get those teams like the Storm, they get the foot in the ground saying, nah, hell no. not today. So that's their attitude. And if your attitude isn't, I've got to make the most of this, I've got to do something with it, then you aren't getting them. Right? How do we do this together? Because good ball or green zone time is better together. Right? When you got your people, you got your little cheerleading group. It's going to be better together. I love watching games where people can't score a try. I laugh and laugh at them. And how can you spend all that time in there and you can't get it done? Right? And then I go out and I'll go somewhere and watch, I don't want to pick on young men, but I'll watch young men that have been somewhere drinking. And in that moment, they're in the green zone. That's where they are. They're on strength, all their buds around, laughing, joking, they're shooting at each other, talking to the right people around them, carrying on. That's it. That's great. How many poor decisions, how many bad things happen to us in that moment? Right there. No, it's right, I'll jump in the car, it's fine, I'm only going around the corner. What's it matter? Happens, done it. But we do it because we're not thinking. There's no consequence, there's no concern, because we're happy, we're flying, we're laughing. I'll look after it. No. It's right, no one's around, I'll come with you, yeah, love, cool, no worries. Because we're in that moment, in that green zone moment. Cool to get there occasionally, but we have to understand what it is and why we're there and how we deal with it as much as we deal with the other end when we get there. Because if you do something bad in that moment, tomorrow morning, guess what? You're waking up way back down here because you've done it to you. You've said something, you've done something, you've spent something, whatever it might be. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it'll get you there. So, in a game, just like what's our talk like in the red zone, who takes over when we're in the green zone? Now who are we turning to? In? H? Who we turn to now? Halves? Yeah? Here's a really good opportunity. This has presented itself. Do they? Do they make enough noise for you when you're in the green zone right now? Feedback's not criticism. Feedback's feedback. Do they make enough noise when we get them there? No, not at the moment, yeah? Okay, cool. Guess what? Easy fix that. That's on me. Put my hand up. Righto, I'll do that. If that's what's needed, that's what I'll do. Choices, all the way through. But the reason that's important is because, yes, we need someone to pick us up when we're in the red zone and we're struggling emotionally and we're not sure where we're getting our next bit of joy from. But at the same time, we need a calming voice sometimes when we're at the other end. We need people around us to just say, whoa, 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 I know it's good, but hold up. Yeah, we might want to think about this a moment. Right? Just drag us back out of there for a sec so we can have a thought. It's important because both ends of that spectrum have led to the same result. And again, been in rooms personally, and the feedback we get is he was having the best night of his life, can't work it out. Don't know what happened. But he ain't there no more. Right? He's been to here, but he was here. So we need people around us that can recognise when we need to lift up and recognise when we need a little help back. And what do we do with that? You as a person have to get really good at accepting that. Okay? We'll probably, I'm not sure. What's the time? Doing the time? Anyway. But talk about how do we have that conversation. It's really good, probably a good time to ask the question now. But if someone came to you, someone in this group, someone that's close to you, someone you know, someone came to you, if they rang you, right? Or you heard through a third party even that they're really deep in this shit, would you put your hand up to help? Would you say, yes mate, I will help you here? Are you the person that would be willing to help? Put your hand right up in the air if you're willing to help. No? Not willing? No? That's cool if you're not. I don't care. Put them up. Higher. If you're half invested in dragging someone out of the mire, neither are you getting out. Invest in something. Someone asks you, do you believe in something? Yes, I believe in it. I don't believe in it. No, do it. You do or you don't. That's life. You do or you don't. Right? Take it from someone that spent a long part of their life going, probably, yeah, maybe. You're at an age where you've got an opportunity to really, really believe in something. Okay, so when someone asks you the question, put your damn hand up. You're not in school now. No one's going to laugh at you. You're a grown-ass man. Know what you believe in. So, if one of these boys rings you and says, I'm in the shit, I don't know what to do, I'm struggling, I don't know where it's coming from, would you help? Put your hand up if you would help your mate. Thank you. That's easy. That was easy, huh? So now, if you're the person that's in that spot, would you ring someone? Would you ring someone and say, I need help? You do if you need to shift your couch, move a fridge, get a lift somewhere, whatever that is. But would you willingly put your hand up and say, help? It's a hard thing to do. Why do we think so many men aren't doing that right now? You tell me, because I don't know.
Embarrassed.
Embarrassed? Is that it?
Well, I sort of feel like I've tried before and I haven't really got much out of it.
Yeah?
I feel like it's an internal thing. You know, I don't know if anyone's got the ability to solve it except yourself. Sort of thing. So,
If you're having trouble with your shoulder, will you go and see some bloke you've never met before and say, help me with my shoulder?
yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
How do you know he knows what he's talking about? If you give a shit on the wall, don't mean he knows what he's talking about. But we'll go and pay money. Again, I'll pay money to get some nuppy because you've got a plaque on the wall. Oh, my shoulder. He'll prod you and poke you and say, yeah, go home and rest. Don't do anything for a week. Would you ask for help though? Because your shoulder will get better. Because this is a conversation you have to have with yourself. It's easy for us to sit here and say, oh, when someone comes to you and have the conversation, yeah, start like this, then we talk about that, and then we do this. And that's easy when the conversation's coming to you. But what if you've got to take the conversation? What if you're the one that needs the help? Because every single person in this room just put their hand up and said, I would help. So why would you be embarrassed? Why would you be unsure? If he's not your answer, chances are he's not, no offence. But maybe he is. Or maybe he is. Or maybe someone up the back there is. Maybe someone else you know. But you've got to be willing, because the outcomes can be really, really bad if we're not prepared to be on both sides of that conversation. And the only way we are prepared to be on that other side of that conversation is to have a little think about it now. And I'm not thinking that you're going to be, oh, Jesus, when I'm in a bad place, well, who do I really... No, learn to be open with you. Learn to be honest with you. Because then it gets a bit easier to be honest with someone else. Easier to be open with someone else. Easier to take feedback. For those that are married, when your wife starts telling you stuff. Right? Sometimes you've got to sit there and say, actually, you're probably right here. Maybe I do need. Because it's an important step. Important step to step up and help someone, but it's an important step to step in and ask for help. Right? Again, it is literally life and death. All right? Our controllables. We control it. All of it. The things we put in our body, the way we react, the way we respond, the things we watch, how much time we spend on social media, all of those things. You're in control of all of that stuff. You're at an age now where hopefully you're doing your own shopping, looking after your own meals. So if your diet's crap, that's on you. If your relationship's crap, that's on you. Right? If your work is crap, that's on you. You have to take responsibility for all of it. Because if you don't take responsibility for it, you can't fix it. If it's someone else's fault, you're waiting on them to fix it. Take responsibility for all of it. Take responsibility with where you are all the time, where your feet are right now. All right? Sam Tagatese, he's one of those guys. I like to tell this story to footy groups. I got to spend a bit of time with Tagas in my role. We did a lot of stuff together, cruised around, spent a bit of time in the car. And we were in a group one day, and he told me this. Or he told the group this story about how when he first started, and the Bronco first come in, the 1.2 test first come in, and the standard was for him as a middle, it was 5'10". He had to get 5'10". That's what he had to get, and he couldn't get it. For love nor money, he couldn't get it. But he was a power guy. He wasn't an endurance guy. He's a power guy. Like I'm an impact guy. I don't need to run for 80 minutes. I'm just coming on, banging it, going off. I don't need it. It's cool. No, can't do it. And then he got a little bit fitter as he went on. He got a little bit stronger emotionally when the pain set in. But he got to 5'10", but now the marker had shifted to 5 minutes everywhere. So he's still 10 seconds behind the game. But I'm a power guy. Still a power guy. That's my game. Yeah, getting stronger and all this stuff. That's me. That's what I'm going to be. Not that guy. And this went on throughout his whole career. Played 77 games, I think, Taggers. The last year he was in footy. He was in Brisbane, playing for South Logan, signed with the Broncos. They said, we'll give you one last shot. This is it. We'll give you a year. So he went, right, sat down with his family and sat down with the people close to him and said, right, I need to do this properly. This is my last shot, my last year. I really need to do this properly. This is my diet plan. Got off the drink, started running, doing extra running, doing all this stuff. Finally got under 5 minutes. But the goal of the Broncos was 450. The goalpost had moved again. He'd achieved the goal, got there. First time ever, he got it under there. He was as old as he was as young as he was ever going to be again. Like he was old, he was set himself. I was on the old side of it. Even though he'd only played 77 games. In all of that time, he'd been around the footy. He got to the end of that year, never played one game for the Broncos. Did all that training, did all that work, did all that stuff, but sat down at the end of that year and said, but that was good. Because then I knew I can. I knew I could. Took me a long time, but I knew I could. But then he sat there and went, shit. What would have happened if I'd have done that every year? Instead of waiting till my last year, what would it look like if I'd done that in my first year? And then my second year? And then every year after? How many games would I played then? What could that career have looked like? Had a lot of fun. Played 77 games. Chances are the bulk of the people in this room aren't playing 77 games NRL. And that's not me saying that, that's statistics telling me that. Right. So he went from being really happy that he'd achieved something, done something, to be like, oh, that's actually a bit regrettable, man. I haven't wasted a whole career, but I've wasted some opportunities to be better. Better footballer, better human, better partner, better father, better role model for all the people that were looking up. All of those things. But when we spoke about it and we talked about it, there was no real emotional attachment to it for him to have to be that. He got there already. I was already there. Big, strong guy, bashing people. But I could only bash him for 10 minutes. But what if? Right? What if? So what we say the day after something bad happens. What if? What if I'd have run? What if I'd have called? What if I'd have gone around there? What if I'd have noticed more? It's hard for you to understand the emotional shift in people if you can't understand it in yourself. If you don't know what it looks like, feels like, sounds like, how do you see it in anyone else? Yes, there's a lot of work to do physically for you. And if you think what you're doing now is enough to get you to where you want to go, what the hell are you doing in this room? Why are you here with me? Maybe we need to do more. Maybe we need to do it better. I don't know. Again, I don't have the answers. I'm only really good at throwing shitty questions here. But I'll bet if we got you in a room and we dug into where you are emotionally, I'll bet we could find some gaps in how much you're really willing to suffer emotionally to achieve all the things. And the worst thing is you see some of these bastards just get it. Stuff just happens for people. Falls their way. Right? That's life. That's going to happen. That's cool. For those that does, cool. We've got to get good at celebrating them. Let them have that. That's awesome. Be happy for them. Be their cheerleader for those that get it. But just know, maybe it's going to take me longer. Maybe it's going to take me a different path. Maybe I need to do something else. But you have to make a commitment to yourself so when you're in your deepest, darkest time, you don't have to feel like training to train. You don't have to feel respectful to show respect. You don't have to feel like you're full of integrity to step up and be that person. Control your emotions. Trust me. You will learn to control your whole damn life. It's easy to be disciplined. It's easy to be honest. Right? It's easy to accept feedback and or criticism because you're not going to respond to it in an emotional way. You're going to let it sit and let it feel. You're going to be able to say, I see you, I feel you, I got you, I see you there, but I'm not going to let you ruin this moment, this opportunity that someone has presented me with to give me this feedback or criticism or give me whatever it is, because I'm ready to sit here in it. And then hopefully it never happens, but then on that Tuesday, on that Wednesday afternoon, when you're in the red zone and you're deep down in it and you're starting to wonder, can I? What do I do here? It can get better because you've made it better, because you've done it before. Cast votes for yourself. Emotionally, I can handle this. Emotionally, I can go and ask for help. I can set new goals. I can define me because I've spent time there, thought about it, understand. All right? So, physical health's a piece of this. We know what it looks like. The mental health's harder to pick. That's why we need to be more in tune with ourselves. The more in tune we are with us, the easier it is to be in tune with the group. Okay? Have I got all this right? Hell no. Hell no. Am I better than I was when I was at your age though? Hell yes. Right? Hell yes. There's not much spelling difference, but the difference between selfish and selfless when it comes to how we live our lives is crazy. Right? And everyone says it's selfish to work on yourself. It's not. It's the absolute opposite. It's selfless to invest this time in you because you get to give it back for everyone around you. You get to be here forever for everyone around you. You get to show young men what it's like to live a good life, be a good person, have good responses to bad situations. But you only get it when you've taken the time, given yourself, be kind to you and give yourself the chance to sit and think and work. And the challenge come forward is we know what works. You know, there's all this mindfulness stuff, and there's meditation, and there's breath work, and there's all these things that we can do. And if you do them, and you do them for a couple of weeks, you go, oh, actually, that's working. That feels good. Cool, and I'll go away and I'll come back in 2 months and say, who's still doing it? And you go, oh, you know, I stopped doing that. Don't know when. Don't know. It just seemed to stop. I just missed it one day and never got back to it. And we know it makes us better. It's like, this is why I'll throw one in there for the coaches. All right? This is, we talk about things in footy I love watching, love hearing. When a coach gets in front of a press conference and says, yeah, no, we've been doing really shit. we're just going to go back to basics this week. We're going to go back to basics and work on what got us here, and that's what we're going to do, and da-da-da-da. Well, shit. If that's important, why do we go away? Why do we have to go back to the basics? Where'd the basics go? Do we drop them? That's how we need to approach the simple things in our life. What works? What's good here? I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to hang on to it. All right? If not drinking's your thing, then don't drink. If eating better makes you better, then eat better. All right? If spending more time in the grass makes you better, then do that. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't know what it is for you. But be better. All right? Be better so we can be better for others. All right? I won't go into all that today. We'll just wind this up and finish up. All right? So, actually, I'll go back to that. Right now, in how you're feeling right now, what are some reasons you might not ask for help now? What are some reasons you might ask for help now?
Feel weak.
Feel weak? Yeah? How hard was that to say? Hard. So, is doing hard things a sign of weakness or a sign of strength? Why would you ask for help? What is going to make you pick the phone up and ask for help? Why? I know I've got my why. I've got a wife and family and a pretty good life going on. I've got a good little group of friends around me that I've known for a long time, and I know I can rely on them. I know why I'm ringing. Because life's important to me. Why are you ringing? Okay? Why are you ringing? So I'll just leave that up there as we finish up. But, yeah. It's a challenging conversation to have with someone if they're not doing it well. It's a challenging conversation to have as a person if you aren't doing it well. But either side of that conversation is the most rewarding conversation you'll ever have in your life. When you walk out the other side. All right? Give life the opportunity to walk you back to the halfway line and start again. Let's see what you've learned. Let's see if you can do better. Let's see where you can take this thing. But you've got to give yourselves a chance over and over again. All right? Right. You better all go home and get to bed. Eat well. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Good luck for the rest of the year. I hope you all stay healthy and wealthy and get it done. Achieve what you want out of the year, right? Good job, man. Thank you.